Excuse me, sir, your audio is not coming. Just
Now am I audible?
I think not welcome.
Am I audible now?
yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
So, respected Associate Dean of Administration, Dr. Hosmani, our respected Registrar Sri SP Hota, and our invited guest speaker of the day, Dr. Vruttant Manwatkar. Sir, I welcome you all for this event of Dr. Ambedkar Jayanti celebration. So we have the privilege to have a very distinguished speaker on the day, Dr. Vruttant Manwatkar, and I take this opportunity to apprise you all about him. Dr. Vruttant Manwatkar is an assistant professor and head of the Department of Political Science at Kishinchand Chellaram College, Mumbai. He holds a PhD degree in political science from prestigious Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi. His research deals with the themes of democratization, tolerance, and respect. That is very much aligned with the vision of Dr. Ambedkar, for which we have gathered today. He is passionate about the development of Ambedkarite culture. His critical and constructive engagement includes his moral political criticism as well. While doing this, he has been writing and speaking on various themes of Ambedkarite politics. He is also a talented percussionist who leads Bautkaro as a founding member. Percussionist, I would like to just apprise you all, is the masterpiece in various types of instruments. A person who is having the caliber to play various types of instruments, musical instruments, is called percussionist. So, big round of applause for him for this. Bautkaro is an art band that works for spreading Ambedkarite culture. Dr. Vruttant is also a poet, and most of Bautkaro's original compositions are written by him. With Bautkaro, he has performed on various national and international platforms. So, with this brief introduction, may I now request Dr. Vruttant to deliver the keynote address for today's event. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, sir. I hope I am audible now. Please give me a feedback. Am I clear? Not clear?
Yes, sir, yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I couldn't hear anything before sir started speaking, so I don't know much of what has happened earlier. But I see that there are many people sitting there. So my festive greetings to all those who are present there. Wish you all a very happy Ambedkar Jayanti, which we are celebrating tomorrow. And my heartiest congratulations to all the team who have organized this beautiful program. So I am going to speak, as I have been told, to share a few of my thoughts on Baba Sahib Ambedkar and education. So I will try to collect my thoughts and share my thoughts on education with respect to Baba Sahib Ambedkar's vision here. So, first of all, I would like to ask if Arun sir is there and if he can share the screen, the image which I've shared with him there on screen. If you could please share. The image where there is a quote of Baba Sahib Ambedkar. This is the article, but I want to see the image and show the image. And coincidentally, I also saw those quotes which I'm going to share, the very particular quote with which I'm going to begin this discussion today. I saw it on your screen also, as you people were sharing few of the quotes of Baba Sahib Ambedkar. So we all share the thinking and we understand what did Baba Sahib meant when he thought about education. So please let me know whenever the screen is visible. But before beginning to speak on education, let me take a minute to, the screen is there. So let me take a minute just to remember our master, the Buddha, and I'll recall master by speaking few Pali words. So we salute Master Lord Buddha by saying, Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So this I usually do before speaking because Baba Sahib Ambedkar also believed that Buddha is his first guru. So remembering our guru is the first thing which we do in our academic programs, in educational programs. So we should start with it. So as you can see that on the screen, you have a quote of Baba Sahib Ambedkar. I hope all are able to see what is written there in the quote. It was the first quote which was shown at your organization also, the very first quote. So this is the fuller version of that quote, which Baba Sahib gave in Nagpur in 1942, July 1942, in the conference of All India Depressed Classes. So there he addressed people, especially students. And while addressing people, he said his final words, as you can see. So what are his final words? He says, please read it along with me because these are, according to me, I see these as the most important words of Baba Sahib Ambedkar. And when we are speaking about education, so obviously these are the most important words. So these are the most important words Baba Sahib says. My final words of advice to you are educate, agitate, and organize. So as you can see in his final words, the very first word is to educate. Education is the foundation of Ambedkarite thinking, of Baba Sahib's thoughts, as you can see. Have faith in yourself. With justice on our side, I do not see how we can lose our battle. The battle to me is a matter of joy. The battle is in the fullest sense spiritual. There is nothing material or social in it. For ours is a battle not for wealth or for power. It is a battle for freedom. It is the battle for the reclamation of human personality. So I hope we all understand and grasp the nuance of what Baba Sahib Ambedkar means when he speaks about the whole mission. Okay, this is Baba Sahib's mission, which is established on a particular vision. And in this vision, we see there is fullest clarity of how the mission should go on. And in this mission, as we can see in these words, the foundation is of education. So that is why my final words of advice to you are educate first. So we will do a talk centering on education. Education organization, we can talk sometime else. So when we talk about education, when we start with education, and particularly in this quotation, when we see Baba Sahib speaking, what else do we understand? He says the very important thing is that this is spiritual and there is nothing material in this. Okay, so what do you mean by spiritual? There are so many Babas nowadays who claim to be spiritual, but the question comes to our mind, are these people really spiritual? So all people who are busy in many supernatural, many superstitional activities, they cannot be called as spiritual. Spiritual is something which is related with man's human being's essential being. And this spiritual and the cultivation of this spiritual becomes very important when we see Baba Saheb's thought on education. We all know, we all understand, first of all, what we all think of education generally. What is our common perspective of education? We all know that India has had a very brutal, inhuman system of injustice where some people were denied right to educate, and these people were considered as lower classes. They were not given many other rights also. So all it was uh, done in the name of some ritual, some religion, some supernatural force, so and so forth. But Baba Saheb intervened in this very unjust history, and he gave the right to education to many people who were historically denied the right to education. And this is one of the biggest contribution of Baba Saheb Ambedkar to the humankind. And fortunately, nowadays we see people from this class, those people who are denied the right to education, are uh, taking education, highest education in the best universities of the world. And this is something which we all should celebrate, which we all must celebrate when we celebrate Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar's thought. These people who are denied the right to education, they are claiming their lost rights by taking power and inspiration from Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. And not only that, they are also creating new possibilities, new opportunities, a new world on the basis of the education which they had gotten because of the work and mission of Baba Saheb Ambedkar. So this idea of education, which is general, which is very popular, which we all celebrate, which we all know, is there in all of our minds. But I would like to take a different perspective and talk about the very, very essential uh, idea of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, which uh, has the core of education in it. So, what is that? And I would say that this is not mostly discussed in the public domain when we talk about education. And this is the education where comes the spirituality of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, where it is about the cultivation of human personality, as you can see in this quote. So, what is this idea of education which Baba Saheb has maintained throughout his life? Let us go and try to explore this. This idea of education, which is in its fullest sense spiritual. Okay, this is celebrating freedom, and this is about the cultivation of the human being. This idea of education, we all need to explore, and we have to think about this idea very seriously. And this is the reason why I am talking about this essential idea of Baba Saheb Ambedkar. When Baba Saheb says that this idea of education is to reclaim the human personality, what do we understand when we think of human and human personality? And if I ask you all, how do you relate education with human and human personality through the link of spirituality? Think of something which can connect human with education. I'm going to explore this ambit of education, which is about the exposition and exploration of human personality. And this is where I see as education meaning. Okay, here I would like to talk about the meaning of education according to Baba Saheb Ambedkar's ideas. Okay, Baba Saheb Ambedkar sees education as the process of the cultivation of humanity. Okay, in Baba Sahib words, it is called Manuski. I hope you have heard about this word Manuski, which is essentially basically taken from the root word Marathi. Manuski is related to something which is human, and in English, if we elaborate the meaning, it is humane, Humane, and it is related with humanity. That's it, and no supernatural, some other godly power is involved in making this humanity. And this is how Baba Sahib explained this idea of humanity through the idea of Dhamma. Okay, here again, Manuski has to be understood through the sense of Dhamma. And Dhamma is something which you can understand as a law, as a kind of morality, as a science. Okay, there can be various meanings of Dhamma. It is also considered to be a part of religion also. You can also consider it as a philosophy, an idea, a thought, or something else. But Dhamma basically is about how a human being behaves with other human being. We all are sitting there in this hall, and we all interact with each other. You all must have organized this talk through certain kind of interaction. There must have been two or more people been in talk about the organization of this event, of this celebration. Somebody must have thought about the celebration. That idea must have been communicated to other person, and this is how interaction has happened, and this is how interaction has reached me, and this is how we are living in this humanity through human interactions. So Baba Sahib sees this kind of interaction as interaction which helps Manuski as its center. Okay, and Dhamma is the tool, Dhamma is the mechanism with which we can understand this interaction between human and human in a very well moral way. So the best way to understand this human interaction is to understand Dhamma, and Baba Sahib has explained Dhamma in his various speeches. He has also written a book called Buddha and his Dhamma, and he explains this interaction, which is nothing but a process. Okay, which I have already talked about Manuski. Okay, Manuski is the process of the cultivation of education is the process of the cultivation of Manuski. So when we talk about education, Manuski becomes center, and when we talk about Manuski, this human interaction becomes central, and there Dhamma is always important. So what is Dhamma, and how do we make this interaction cordial? How do we make this interaction jovial? How do we make this interaction friendly? In fact, this must be the prime question of education, because Baba Sahib has always said that education is not only there to serve your ends meet. Education is not only to earn money. Education is not only to earn degrees. Education has a more meaningful purpose. And while speaking about the purpose of education, Baba Sahib says that to moralize people is the purpose of education. To socialize people is the purpose of education. So education has a wider meaning. Education has a deeper meaning. It is not only reduced or limited of holding a degree and using that degree for gaining jobs and employment. So let us try to explore this deeper and this wider meaning of education through the ideas of Baba Sahib Ambedkar. So Baba Sahib has given this one very important statement in one of his speech when we talk about and when we explore this deeper meaning of education. So Baba Sahib says that I would like to read this quotation. Baba Sahib says that education is a sword of being a double-edged weapon. So an educated man without character and humility was more dangerous than a beast. So I hope we can understand the intensity of Baba Sahib ideas where he says that education is a double-edged sword. It can cut also. It is like a weapon. It can be used to kill somebody, and it is also used for our our own preservation or for some other purpose also. And the most important statement is that an educated man without character, without humility, is more dangerous than a beast. So we can imagine what Baba Sahib is thinking about an educated man. So a educated man has to be a man with a character according to Baba Sahib. An educated man has to be humble. He has to has humility according to Baba Sahib. And in absence of these qualities, an educated man can be more dangerous than a beast. And perhaps we can see this very rampant in our society also. Many people who are doing corruption, many people who are killing other people, many people who are doing many maneuvers to dupe other people, they are educated people. They have got the knowledge how to kill other people, how to do human corruption. They know it well, and these are the educated people who are using their education for the harm of humanity. And that is why Baba Sahib says that uh, education, an educated man has to be a man of character. And this is where the Manuski, the concept of Manuski becomes important. How do we become man of character? How do we become humans of character? By exercising, by practicing the morality, by practicing Manuski, by knowing how to behave with each other. If we do not behave with each other in a jovial way, in a friendly way, we all will end up becoming enemies of each other. And this is how there won't be any time to destroy our world. So that is why this interaction, this Manuski, is important. And for this Manuski, for this interaction, understanding Dhamma becomes important. Okay, while understanding Manuski and Dhamma, we understand the concept of mind. Okay, mind is important whenever we understand human being. So this is about Manuski, this is about humanity, and humanity is about the cultivation of human mind. Okay, I also saw this quote in your presentation there. It was the second quote where Baba Sahib says, and he says that cultivation of mind is the ultimate aim of human existence. So let us talk about now why this mind is important when we are trying to improve the quality of our interaction as human beings, which will make us educated people. So when we interact through a certain moral position. We interact as a human being which have become human being through a certain kind of socialization process. Okay, so let me talk about this. Uh, for example, I will quote here Kabir. I hope we all have heard about Kabir, and Kabir says that मन के हारे हार है मन के जीते जीत कहे कबीर गुरु पाइए मन ही के परते. So here, mind is important when Kabir is talking about winning and losing, and Kabir is trying to say that माइंड इज प्राइमरी. अगर मन सोचता है हमारा जीत के लिए तो हम जीत जाते हैं, अगर हमारा मन सोचता है हार के लिए तो हम हार जाते हैं. So very important is mind in human being. And again, if we talk about Baba Sahib's ideas, Baba Sahib says that mind is the instrument through which light enters human being. Okay, mind is that instrument from which by light we can understand education. Okay, when we say that we are enlightened beings, we are educated beings by saying enlightened beings. So light is what? Light is nothing but one more word for being educated. So mind becomes the instrument through which education is entering human being. So that is why Dhamma becomes the mechanism, Dhamma becomes the science and law through which a human being is getting educated. Right? I hope I'm making sense and you are trying to understand how I'm leading towards the more developed sense of humanity, and how Baba Sahib says that this humanity should be cultivated. Okay. So we have seen Baba Sahib going to different talks, delivering different lectures, writing various books and articles, and in all his intellectual work, we see Baba Sahib most of the time quoting of various values, various principles, various morals which are trying to make a human being more humane. If you understand Marathi, so माणसाला माणूस करणारा, माणसाला माणुसकीशी जोडणारा हा principles आहेत. These are the principles which are making a human being more humane. So education is making human being more humane. And what are these values? What are these principles and morals which are seen as the principles of Dhamma, which are very necessary according to Baba Sahib to a person to be educated? Okay, like for example, Baba Sahib goes to an inauguration of a Sai Mandir in Mumbai. This is a story. So, what would Baba Sahib say about Sai Baba? Baba Sahib says that he didn't know much about Sai Baba, but he says that Sai Baba was a saint and he worked for the cause of humanity. And there he talks about how to make this humanity possible. Okay, and there he brings in the Ashtangik Marga, which becomes the central part of Dhamma. Okay, Dhamma is the teachings of the Buddha, which is the basic principle of education in Baba Sahib's ideas. So this Ashtangik Marga becomes a way, a very important way to educate people in Baba Sahib's ideas. So Baba Sahib is going to different ceremonies, to different lecturers, and he is explaining people about how to behave, how to interact with people. And this Ashtangik Marga, where Buddha has given 8 paths, Samyak Dishti, Samyak Ajivika, Samyak Karmata. These are various eight ways, 8 principles which Baba Sahib says are very important to make a human being human. Okay. Likewise, Baba Sahib also emphasized on uh, these important values, which are also a very important part of Dhamma. So, which are these values? For example, Baba Sahib has always talked about inculcating and cultivating the values of prajna, we call it prajna, karuna, and uh, sheel, along with maitri. So, what is prajna? What is karuna? What is sheel? What is maitri? These are the values from which a human being is becoming a cultivated being. An educated man without prajna, without karuna, without sheel, can be more dangerous. And this is the reality. Those people who do not have karuna, karuna means what? Compassion. In our interaction with people around us, compassion is very important. When we feel, when we empathize with the fellow human being, we can understand and know what are the pains of another human being. And if we understand that we do not want such kind of pains to be shared with other beings, so that is why this value karuna is very important. So just imagine a person without karuna, without compassion. That person cannot understand other human being, and it will be very easy for that person to kill other being. So that is why Baba Sahib always emphasizes on karuna. Then prajna. Prajna is what? Wisdom. This is a deeper understanding of the issues, social, political, economic, scientific. This is wisdom. Prajna is nothing but a more clearer and deeper understanding of things. Prajna includes scientific temper. If we do not think scientifically, it is very easy for us to stray away with different kind of superstitions. And with superstitions, we know how people are duped. Okay, prajna, karuna, sheel. Sheel is what? Sheel is the basic foundation of the character of a human being. Whenever we behave with other being, we have to have certain principles. So, for example, there are panchasheel which are always propagated by Baba Sahib: not to steal, not to speak lie, not to kill anybody, not to do any sexual misconduct, not to lie. These are the examples of the five shields, which are very important in a human being. And if a human being is not practicing these shields, these moralities, it is again very easy for that person to be corrupt. It is very easy for that person to kill other people. So that is why such people become dangerous. And this is how Prajna, Karuna, Shield becomes the very foundational values of education according to Baba Sahib. And similarly, there is one very important value, which is friendliness. In Pali, it is called as Maitri, Metta. So, Metta is the most important quality of a human being according to Baba Sahib. And this metta should be cultivated by all the human beings in order to become good human beings. And in fact, Baba Sahib also uh, associates this value of metta politically, and that is why we also see Baba Sahib emphasizing metta in the Constituent Assembly, and we see fraternity as one of the most important values of Indian Constitution. So liberty, equality, and fraternity, which are the political values, which are the social values also, which we see in the Indian Constitution, are put there in the Indian Constitution, in the preamble of the Indian Constitution by Baba Sahib, through his understanding of these values, which are basically taught by Lord Buddha, which is his master. And he has also said this, he has stated in the Constituent Assembly that he has not learned these values of liberty, equality, and fraternity from French Revolution, but he has learned this from his master and from the soil of India, who is Lord Buddha. So this is how the political values are also very important when we talk about education. So what is liberty? What is fraternity? What is equality? I would like to share this screen and show you a few statements of Baba Sahib Ambedkar, which he has given on 25th November 1949 in his last speech of Constituent Assembly. And in the speech, Arun, could you please share the article which I have shared, the article which you had shared before the image. So these are the ideas, these are the principles and values which Baba Sahib talked in the Constituent Assembly also because he was anxious of the future of India. He was anxious. Just scroll up. Keep on scrolling. When I tell to stop, please stop. Keep on scrolling. Acha, go down. Go down in the end of this article. So this is the article where you can see many statements of Baba Sahib Ambedkar which he has given in his last speech of Constituent Assembly. No, up, and up, go up. Yeah. So here you can see. Please read it. The case for social democracy. So here he is talking about democracy, and when he talks about democracy, I am hearing my own voice, so it is a little disturbing. So let us do one thing. Please read this first. You read about political democracy and the importance of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Just go through it once in 2 minutes, and then I will resume. So I hope you have read it.
Yeah, Dr. Vruttant. I'm just reading out for all the august audience here.
Please do.
The case for a social democracy. It says Dr. Ambedkar ultimately emphasizes that people must not be content with a mere political democracy, but rather strive for a social democracy with underlying principles of equality, liberty, and fraternity. I quote, political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of social democracy. What does social democracy mean? It means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality, and fraternity as the principles of life. They form a union of trinity in the sense that to divorce one from the other is to defeat the very purpose of democracy. Without equality, liberty would produce the supremacy of the few over the many. Without fraternity, liberty would produce the supremacy of the few over the many. Without fraternity, liberty, and equality could not become a natural course of things. It would require a constable to enforce them. I unquote. Thank you. You may further elaborate on this.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. So please stop this screen because again my sound is coming back to me. So yes, I'm just now going to conclude with these statements of Baba Sahib Ambedkar, where he is talking about the social democracy. We all know democracy, and we all also know the importance of democracy. If there is no democracy, there will be despotism, and there will be again the secession of our different rights and freedoms, and so on and so forth. So that is why social democracy becomes important. And what is the crux of social democracy? And here again, I go back to the interaction of human to human, where through these values, through this education, we are becoming better human beings through a better kind of interaction. And whenever there is this cordial, there is this friendly interaction between human beings, we can say that we are educated beings, and we can say that we are real democracy. So this is how this kind of social interaction, which is educated according to Baba Sahib ideas, becomes the foundation of democracy. And this not only applies to Indian democracy, but this applies to the world democracy also. And that is why Baba Sahib becomes the philosopher of the reconstruction of the world. This is the philosophy, this is the very foundational philosophy of Baba Sahib, where he is conceptualizing the reconstruction of the world through the ideas of Manuski and Dhamma. And there we can see that liberty and equality are not enough, as you have read in this quotation of Baba Sahib. There has to be fraternity, and fraternity is what in Baba Sahib ideas it is metta. So there has to be the cultivation of friendliness among each other, which is only possible through the practice of the principles of the morality, of liberty, equality, fraternity, justice. And what I have talked about of prajna, of karuna, of sheel, and Maitri. So this is how Baba Sahib conceptualizes education. And this is how we see that through these different values, a human being is becoming a real human being. This is how, through these values, we can see that a human being is not only getting educated and becoming a danger to the society, which can be dangerous than a beast. So this is how a educated man is differentiated with a educated man with humility and character through the practice of all these values which have been taught time and again by Baba Sahib Ambedkar. And this is how Baba Sahib says that through this Manuski, human being can be an ultimate human being. So this is how in this quote he concludes that the ultimate aim of human existence is the cultivation of knowledge. Okay, so just a minute. There is someone that they are knocking for a long time. I'll take a minute and I will join. Yes, I'm back. I'm so sorry. So I'm stopping only. So I think I have covered my discussion, and I have covered what I needed to speak. And let us once again share the first quotation of Baba Sahib with his message that the ultimate aim of human existence is the cultivation of mind, and through the practice of all these values, we can become more humane. Okay, so this is basically what I see is the idea of education in Baba Sahib Ambedkar's idea. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my ideas with you all. And I give this to you now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Vruttant. Thanks for your enlightening talk on Dr. Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar. He was certainly an iconic figure, we all know. And the way you have presented his works His teachings, his ideas is certainly praiseworthy. So we thank you all. Please give one big round of applause to him once again. We have with us our respected Associate Dean of Administration, Dr. Santosh Osmani sir here on the dais. So may I request sir to address the august audience on this occasion.
Yeah, so good evening to all, dear colleagues, and the guest, Dr. Manwatkar, for giving a wonderful talk. And wish you happy Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Jayanti, which we are going to celebrate tomorrow. So since tomorrow is holiday, we are celebrating today evening. So it's a really wonderful occasion. And I would like to congratulate our Staff Welfare Association, IIT Indore, for organizing this nice event. So I think it's a good initiative. So it's really congratulations to entire team. So it's nicely organized, and the talk is also well organized. Our topic is quite relevant, especially related to our organization, which is dealing with the education. What actually I understood the crisp from the our speaker's talk is that education probably is not just a degrees. You should have the values. So that means that without character, probably education will not probably, it's definitely education will not have any meaning at all. So definitely, the definition of characterization, it varies from the different roles what we are playing throughout our life. Maybe as a parent, we have a different roles, moral values. As the employee, we have a different moral values. As a student, we have a different moral values. As a supervisor, we have a different moral values. But ultimately, the education means something is like just getting a degree. You have a degree, but ultimately, if you're not really, as I mentioned, it's like a spiritual aspects. What actually from his talk, actually, I'm not really aware much about the Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's angle. It's really that its spirituality is very much essential along with the education. So that is what actually we can actually learn from the entire struggle Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar he has done through his life. And he has done a wonderful contribution, not only as the social reforms, but as well as with respect to the living of education. He has actually gave the example through practicing it, not just by preaching it. So that is something is very difficult. To tell something is very easy, but to practice it is entirely difficult. And this requires the entire level of spirituality in you. Then only you are the truly educated. So it's a very wonderful talk, and I really appreciate Dr. Manwatkar for giving a wonderful insights on this particular aspects. And with respect to the location point of view, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, he took birth in Mumbai, so the place is very near to our place. It's really something like pride for us, actually, isn't it? So really, it's a good thing. And as if you look at his education, for the education also, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar struggled a lot. With his school education in Bombay, actually, he took major of his education, and for higher studies also, he actually get the scholarship from the prestigious scholarship, if I remember correctly, that was from the Baroda State Scholarship. So I think that is something is really very prestigious during those time. And then using that scholarship, he took the higher education. Not only just through the education, but as well as he learned the society, understood the society, and finally plays an important role in leading the important committee who made the Constitution of India. It's really a wonderful contribution, and I really appreciate again for the entire the staff welfare association for organizing this event, and I think it is a good practice to continue with. So it's a thank you very much.
Thank you for enlightening words, sir. Certainly, we are fortunate to have a special connect being Indorians. As we all know that Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar's birthplace is Indore, Mau. His father was serving in army at Mau only when he was born. So we certainly have that privilege, and we can connect ourselves to Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. So now proceeding further, may I now request our respected registrar, sir, for a concluding address and also vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Namaskar, Dr. Vruttant, online. Um, Good evening, sir, and dear friends. Before I offer a vote of thanks, two lines I can share. It is improper to give comments about the life and work of Baba Sahib Ambedkar because it is so vast and he has touched every aspect of life of Indian democracy. A journey from 1891 to 1956, starting from Mao to University of Mumbai, then University of Columbia, and then London School of Economics. Only person who can travel a lot and deepen his roots in higher studies. Only he can talk about education, and it is good that we have chosen the topic Baba Sahib's vision on education. I will request all my friends to read the article he wrote in 1923, exactly 100 years back, the genesis of Indian rupees, problems and solution. Every economic student must read it, and we are advised in our graduation that first you read this article and come back for Indian economy. 1923 and today 2023, it is equally and more relevant. Who else can talk about education unless we have studied Indian civilization and society to such a deeper extent? My regards to Dr. Ambedkar on this August occasion. And also I must say that the first law minister of the first cabinet, many may not know that he was a law minister, but first thing he told was about food security. And that time the third world took his concept of food security for the first time into cognizance because people were dying not getting food. He was the first man who told that agriculture should be treated as an industry so that people will get their regulated wages. Who else can understand education and society other than Baba Sahib Ambedkar? Not going much into the details, I would say that education and Baba Sahib Ambedkar, Dr. Vruttant has explained nicely. He has touched the value system of education part. I would like to add two lines. In the Indian philosophy, two lines we get. Education is that liberates. Sa vidya ya bhimukte. So education is that which liberates us, liberates from all kinds of bondage. And the another word about education in our Shastra is told that vidya dadati vinayam. Education that gives us humility. I think Dr. Vruttant, you have touched both the points. Thank you very much for the wonderful talk. I must say that my institute stands for education. The most important philosophy is Jnanam Sarvajan Hitaya. Somewhere we touch the same philosophy of Baba Sahib. Thank you. So my sincere gratitude and thank goes to you, Dr. Vruttant. You have given us a new feeling on education and value system with Baba Sahib's philosophy. Thank you very much. We are grateful to you that you have accepted our invitation on behalf of Staff Welfare
Thank
Committee.
you very much, sir. Thank you very much. It was an honor to talk with you all here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And next, my sincere gratitude and thanks goes to our director for permitting us for this occasion. My sincere thanks goes to my Staff Welfare Committee. They have thought of this. This is first of its kind, and I look forward for more occasions like this. Thank you, Dr. Hosmani, for finding out time for us and giving us the final touch on education and Baba Sahib's philosophy. Thank you very much, sir. Sincere thanks to all the faculty members and staff members who are here. Special thanks to the boy here from staff side. Thank you for coming. Thank you to all my friends from SWA for organizing the activity and all those support staff from transport to horticulture to administration, audiovisual, IDO, administration, and all the support staff. Thank you very much. And we must celebrate this with all joy. And we look forward that this philosophy is ingrained to us and trickles down to our behavior. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. I will fail to complete my duty if I don't convey my sincere thanks to the students present here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. On the eve of Baba Sahib Ambedkar Jayanti, we have planned a plantation also by our chief guest, Dr. Hosmani sir and Registrar sir. So all are requested to kindly assemble near the fountain area of our Naranda auditorium the plantation, and after that we'll join again for the cup of tea. Thank you.